Hello, good evening. I hope everyone's doing okay. Ta-da! Start this evening. Okay, this is a chart of Bitcoin in log scale.
Good evening.
Oops, I'm going to turn this off.
Doing okay.
Got an echo. There we go. This is a chart of Bitcoin, US dollar in log scale, going back to 2011. And the reason we're looking at this first, because I saw when somebody tweeted, that the third quarter of the year, so that's from June to September, is very often a corrective leg, more often than not. And then, we tend to rally in September. Well, I'm much more kind of monthly seasonal when I look at Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin used to have really strong monthly seasonality. And since that we've got the CME futures, which are monthly, and expire on the last Friday of every month, it's become a kind of even stronger theme. And when I look back, so we've got 8 previous summers obviously on this chart. This is the one with the longest history. If you look at TradingView, we can see that of the last 8 Junes, the last 6 of them have been pretty strong bullish months. So each one is the left hand pink line. That's a previous June. So we can say that 7 of the 8 last Junes were green. This one here is a little joji, so it's almost the same open close. And back in 2013 we had a red print for a June month, but all of the others, so 7 out of 8 in fact Junes, were positive months. Now that doesn't mean, you could say, oh gosh, we're really due. Some people will say, the glass half empty people will say, oh, that means we're due a bearish June, it's all going to fall apart. For me, I think it's more likely than not that we'll probably have a pretty good month. Unfortunately, when we get to July and August, the picture's not so pretty. In fact, if we go back, we can go 1, 2, 3, that one, 4. So 4 of 8 Julys were red. So we can say Julys are kind of 50-50, and 4 of 8 of them were green. So it's a 50-50. But let's take a look at August and see how many of those were red. And we can go 1, 2, 3. Hold on. Sorry. 1, 2. I'm not having my best night. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's more likely that, we don't have a good, and I have to say that August I've often found very tricky trading. So I think that we are in July and August more likely to see a pullback, but this month, 7 out of 8, we've got a pretty good chance of a bullish month. So let's get rid of these. That's just my point. And so seasonally, I think we're looking quite good for June anyway. And we've got a little bit of room to go higher from here. Let's get out of log scale and back to regular scale, because we're doing really good things. This is a pretty good looking bullish flag. We're holding above our daily moving average. Everything looks really good to go higher. The problem is I think fib retrace levels and resistance levels, if we draw them from this high to this low, clearly this 61, we're in that no man's land in between the 61.8 and stalled here. My issue and my problem, one of my concerns is that if we do rally this month and we get just beyond this 61.8 level and these previous highs, we may run straight into resistance. And the reason is the bears will tell you that this is a big ABC correction we're making. And if that's the case, then the level where we are 61.8 of the first rally, so in other words, if I measure from this low to this high and project it from here, we're at 61.8, and these big previous highs here at 10,500, they're 10,500 at Bitstamp. If I look, for example, at some of the other exchanges, they're a little bit lower, maybe down to 10,250, but in that region. So potentially we could hit some trouble. We're not going to be out of trouble either until we really clear these highs and we can hold above 10,000 and keep going. So potentially that's what I'm looking for. So here we are, we're all bunched up. But while Bitcoin has been bunching up and going sideways, one up day, one down day, one up day, one down day, the altcoins have been absolutely kicking it. So let's just finish off on Bitcoin. So what if you haven't got any Bitcoin, but you're looking to buy some, and how are you going to trade this? Well, I feel it's, when I initially saw us reverse at this 61.8 level, and we got underneath this 50% in the middle, I thought honestly 7,600 was a given. That's where we were going, but we haven't. Somebody keeps buying the dips, and clearly for me, a break of this trend line, I think 9,800, I would put my toe in. I know there's resistance right above, but sometimes when you've got a resistance level that everybody's looking at, like this big 10,000, you'll get liquidity there and you'll get through it. And so if you buy it a bit earlier with a bit of a cushion, that's kind of how I'm thinking about it. So yeah, I like Bitcoin. I think we're holding up really well. I think we've got a good month coming. It's just a matter now of finding an entry while it's all gone really quiet and flat. And you don't want to miss it. So I'm going to pop an alarm up here. Now, at the moment, I actually haven't got any Bitcoin, which is unusual. I normally have a little. The reason I don't have any Bitcoin is because I thought that ETH was outperforming it really well, or set to outperform Bitcoin really well. And so I flipped to, I'm on the wrong page, I flipped to ETH. So let's take a look at ETH Bitcoin. IOTA looks nice, but that's not the one we're looking at. So this is Ethereum against Bitcoin. Looking at Binance here on a weekly chart. We've had a lovely kind of bullish cross of these weekly moving averages. Let me tidy up this chart a bit because it's all a little bit messy. We've recovered these previous lows from 2017, which we kind of were back and forward through. We dropped underneath. They were resistance. Now that we've recovered them, I'm thinking we're looking pretty good to go higher, especially with this bullish cross of these weekly moving averages. That's a pretty good sign. We do need to break out here, and we haven't quite. And so I'm a little bit nervous because third touch of trend lines are quite often false breaks. If we bring this in a bit, we could say, well, this was our false break and now we're broken for real. But I'm going to play conservative and say, I'm still looking for that breakout and next leg up, if you like, in ETH Bitcoin. I think this chart looks really good. We'll go back to the weekly. It's always a bit funky for me, when I'm setting targets, for example, and I look at all of these swings that we've got, So I always start off with putting my fibs on the most recent complete swing. And so I'm going to say, and then I look at what the 236 did. And then I think, have I drawn it right? So I'm going to start this way and say, did we get a reaction at the 236 fib? And for me here, we did. So that kind of validates that I've drawn it right, and everything else just looks messy from here, doesn't it? In fact, the fibs, I would say, aren't working that well. If I put them on this slightly lower high here and say this was an ABC, then the 236 did work. It was support and it was resistance here, and this 50% worked very well. So I'm going to stick with that and say, it's probably this 38.2 here that's holding us up. And a break above that would say that we are on our way. So let's put that on there. So here on the daily, we're looking for a daily close above 25,203. And that would be ETH Bitcoin on the way again. And, if I look at daily candlesticks and we do the same thing going back from this swing, we really don't want to close below 236 from this low. That would mean a bigger reversal is in play. So far we're holding above it, so I'm going to say my first line of support and where I get out is 24,393, and I'm looking for a close above 25,203 for ETH to break out and keep outperforming Bitcoin. And this is a really good proxy for altcoins. When ETH tends to outperform Bitcoin, then altcoins tend to do really well. Lucas says Bitcoin is also testing a trend line for it is. It's a little bit weird, because when we when you put depending on which exchange you look at, it let's take some of this off. Depending on which exchange you look at, you can draw this trend line a number of ways. Here, for example, at Bitstamp, we're not testing it, are we? But if we look, say, for example, at the futures, which is a little bit of a different chart. Let's see Bitcoin futures. Here we all are up at a big, and we're right up against it, aren't we? So not there yet in Bitstamp. In the futures, we almost are. The other one, I think the most reliable chart for short term, I like Deribit, because it takes its prices from 8 different exchanges. And so here at Deribit, you can see, yes, we are up against this trend line almost. If I draw connect the highs, we're not quite there either. And then this is the resistance that I talked about that we need to get above if we are going to reverse the big daily trend in Bitcoin. So 10,200, 10,500 is going to be an important resistance zone. And at the moment, I prefer ETH unless we reverse here. So if we take a look at ETH, obviously, then we're in the same, pretty similar situation. There's a level I intend to. So let's zoom out, and we'll start with the weekly chart of ETH dollar. Okay. So pretty similar, I guess, if we were going to draw trend lines. We're really looking to see, is this an A, B, C, or X, Y, Z, or is this three-wave correction complete here? And are we about to see a new swing higher? And just above where we are in ETH is this 236 fib retest again at 258. And not only that, but if it's similar to Bitcoin and we're going to do a leg up, three-wave back, and then this leg is just corrective. So 61.8, say, of this leg. We've got a little bit of a resistance zone around 262. Also a bit of support and resistance from these closing lows. So for me, the level I'm watching next for where I might get in trouble on my ETH long is around 262. And if we clear 262, happy days, because the equal measured move takes us to this 38.2 fib next at 367, which we couldn't quite tag before. So 367, 370 would be the target, but only if we can get through this tricky 262 price zone where we are in Bitcoin. Lucas says the futures seem to have most volume. Yes, they do. They do, and they're quite reliable. And not only that, but in the futures, right? So when you look at any exchange generated price, okay, you're looking at the volume that exchange tells you is the volume. Okay, I'm not going to say that they fudge their volume, but you're only getting one exchange. If you look at, so there's no kind of amalgamated price for all of the volume. Not only that, but a lot of Bitcoin is done over the counter. So you can't really see, whereas in the futures, you do get, all the volume you see is all the volume there is. There's no over the counter in the futures. So that's where we are in ETH, okay? So nearly there. 262 could be trouble, and then I'm looking for 370 next in ETH, US dollar. And if we stop there, that would also, unfortunately, not be terribly bullish. That would just be an big ABC correction off the lows. It would be a long-term one, but you never know. You know, I'm going to go step by step. And also, these fibs are not all the way from the highs, and normally I would have them on both swings, okay? So I think if we get back above this 232 fib again, I'm probably going to do that and kind of revise these levels, and so we'll see. But for now, that's what I'm looking for, and 262 is the hurdle that we need to get above. In ADA, hasn't ADA been brilliant? I'm going to start with ADA Tether, and then we'll look, because we've been outperforming Bitcoin. So every in ADA, these fibs, again, this is one of those issues where the fibs don't quite work. And so I've been having a bit of an issue with them. What does work, okay, what has worked is the fibs all the way from the highs, okay, all-time highs to lows in this ADA dollar. And that gives us a 236 target at 0.105, which is also the June highs. So June 2019 highs. So that's where I think we are gunning for at the moment. Also, if I take this most recent swing in ADA, which we've now gone beyond, okay, you can see that 236 fib worked, all these fibs, the 61.8, 50%, these, even this little 886 worked very nicely. We're approaching the 1272, and if I put the 1.618 on then of this one, and let's change the color so we can see it. We don't need all these ones anymore either, so we'll take them off. Okay, you can see that the 1.618 of this most recent swing also lines up with that 236 target. So we can say that short term we've got a little bit of resistance, or we've got significant resistance at 87.18, and then above 87.18 our next target will be 0.106, and so we will get higher than 10 cents, Jordan. I do think that we will, but I would not underestimate how tricky 106 or 105 is going to be. We might get knocked back the first time we get there, and then our second target, and you can see this lines up with the, from this high to low, 2.618. My second target is 0.1607. Okay, Lucas says, are you worried by ETH and Bitcoin long short ratios, which are multiple time over longs over short, and worried about mass liquidations like in March? I am a little bit. You need to go back there and look at when they built up and what the price was, okay? Because if they've been pretty balanced and they're quite lately, then we probably won't fall that far. But yeah, I do think we will see at some point, okay, in Bitcoin, we're just still in our wave one, aren't we? Excuse the dog. It's going to be one of those nights. I can see it coming. Okay. From the lows that we made in March, right? This is still our wave one. We could see at some point a pullback that brings it back 50% before we start the next leg. And so this is what I'm saying. I think June is a pretty good bet, but come July, August, we might see a bit of a nasty pullback. And if you look at stock indexes, remember the really nasty fall that we had in March? That was just the first leg down. We still need a third leg for it to be a correction, and we haven't seen it yet. So do I think that stocks look like they're going to roll over? No, I think they've got a little bit more room to go higher. But at some point, we are going to see that third leg down. Do I think we'll see new lows? I doubt. I actually don't think so, no. But we should expect a summer correction. If you think that you can buy here and hold all the way, I think that will be very tricky. So I think that more likely we'll see a pullback and retest the 200-day. We might, if this is a wave 4 that we're in at the moment, we've done 1, 2, 3, and this is a wave 4. The most common place for us to pull back to would be the bottom of wave 4 here. And that could easily send us back to around 8,000 and retest the 200-day, maybe a little over 8,000. So, we are buying in a really tricky place. You should be aware of that. Like if you're... Now, I know this is going to sound... I'm not saying you shouldn't buy it here. I think you should, because there's no... for sure that we'll stop at this resistance. We might blast through it. In fact, we might do the opposite. I'm sorry about the dog. I'm just about to lose my shit. Hold on. We might blast through it. So you should try and buy it, but just be aware that if it fails there and reverses, get out again and wait, and then put your order down towards, 8,500 or something. Or if you don't mind riding the waves or a bit of a pullback, then that's fine. I'm just saying what I see. It wouldn't be un-Bitcoin like either if we didn't do it. Just we could do a big inverted head and shoulders bottom here, couldn't we? And with this wave 2, come back a nice 50%. Around about here, people are going to be telling you that the world is about to end, by the way, but it isn't. But we could see that, and it would still be a bullish pattern. So we've got to be prepared. Nobody kick the dog, Gibbo, I promise. I got a new puppy coming in a month as well. So it's going to be chaos. Anyway, so yeah, we've done Bitcoin, ETH and ADA. So yeah, just be aware, whenever, if you're looking, when you're looking at a chart and you think about buying something and it's had a really good run, it's been going for a while and you've had a few corrections, whenever you see it make a triangle, when it makes that pattern and it's 5 waves. So I've drawn that really badly. Let's try that again. So yeah, when you're you see a chart like this, and then it'll make a triangle 5 waves and break out of it instead of a 3 wave. That's very often a sign that this is a wave 4, and the last swing higher is the end before you'll see a 3 wave correction. And they very often come back to the bottom of here, which, gosh, that's probably where your stop is. Or if you bought the breakout of this, your stop would probably be here in the middle, right? And it come and you'll go, damn it, and then up it goes again. So these triangle or wedge consolidation patterns, you'll see, if you see them in a trend, which we've had in Bitcoin, they're very often wave 4, and that will happen. So if we're all prepared for it, mentally we can ride it out, right? So I'm going to move on. Let's look at some more charts. Let's look at Lumens, which has had a really nice breakout move today. This is what you want to see. So nice ABC. This second leg was and a breakout. The important thing now here in Stellar Lumens is that we make a new high if we're going to keep going higher, and this is not just a sideways range, particularly because our moving averages are kind of flat. We need to break out and get them moving higher here. I think it looks good. I think not this 38.2 fib we've got looming here. I've drawn it like this from this high to low. We have got this looming here, but I think that more likely we'll go through this at 78.13. We're going to keep going higher to these highs at 0.088. So that's what I'm looking for in Lumen Tether. Now, key question is going to be, is Lumen outperforming Bitcoin? Because do I really want to spend my Bitcoin on Lumen? Yes, you do. Look at this lovely move today. I've got to clear up my chart. This is what I mean about when you get bunched up moving averages and sideways action, you get quite often violent moves. Yesterday we broke out of this range, went all the way to the next fib level and came all the way back and closed underneath because it was just too much for everybody. But today we look very good, and I think that now we can move, we can say these highs are now really our resistance and our range, and this is what we need to get above to be in the next leg higher, 795. And so if we can't get above 795, we should now look for this broken out level here at 754 to be support. If we can't get out first time. For me, the momentum is moving higher. Stellar, let's put it this way. Let's take these fibs away. My favorite thing is don't diddle in the middle. And this is a big wedge, okay? Isn't it? We've got 3 touches on the bottom side of this wedge. We've got 2 touches on the top. Okay, and this is the middle. And so quite honestly, this could go either way, couldn't it? We could stop here and we could do the next leg down, and that would be equal like this, couldn't we? Or we could break above here and then go, and this was we can then say, oh, this was just an ABC correction and we finished it and we're on our way. I don't know, but I do know that this is pretty tough resistance and we could get a little bit stuck here. So how will we really know that we finished and we're going up higher? When we break these highs, to be honest. So then when we do and we break out from this wedge, we've got a giant big 236 fib target at 2026. But I'm going to say we should also look at this most recent swing lower and put these fibs in, because I think that they're more relevant, closer by, and an easier way to climb the staircase. So we can say, look, this is a 236 fib. We can't get above it. If we close above 889, we're on our way up. So that gives us a warning before the trend line. So above 889, 1096, then 1263, and then 1430, and so on. And this 50% level might be more tricky. We've got a little bit of resistance here as well, support and resistance. So 1263, I would say 1263 is a given. One of the reasons is that whenever you get a horizontal pattern like this, so head and shoulders, just when you go sideways, double bottom, triple bottom in a block, your target is always twice the range that you've been in. So this is our block like this, and when we break out, our target is always twice. And so that takes us to the 50% level and this resistance as well. So Lumen, that's what I'd be looking for, but we've got a few steps to go before we get there. In favor of us going higher, I really do like how we're holding above this 200 moving average in the middle here. And we could very easily be correction complete and on our way up again. So if we make new highs above 800, look for 889, a close above 889, our target is 1263. Okay, that's Lumen. I love it. Lumen Bitcoin. Next one we're going to look at is Neo. Hasn't Neo been having fun? We'll start with the daily in Neo. I think that we've reached a bit of a tricky level now. From this low to the high, I put fib retrace levels on. Okay, I'm going to clean this up for you for a minute. Okay, from this low to this high, I put fib retraces on. We double bottomed at the 786 fib. So there's a rule about when you reverse at the 786 fib, your first target is the 38.2. Sometimes though, it extends to the 236 fib. I'm going to suggest that this might be one of those occasions. And the reason is, if I measure from this low to this high, and I project it from here, where we are, 61.8 of this first leg lines up with this 236 up here. So that's going to be our second target. But this is a resistance level where we could see a pullback in Neo Bitcoin before we carry on higher. So little beware place. So what if we do, we're going to stay bullish as long as we don't come back kind of more than 50% of this open close. That would keep us in the trend, and I would say back below the 200 moving average, so down here we're bears. Okay, in fact I've drawn that really badly, let's not do that. Yeah, so underneath the 200 moving average we're bears, and this is kind of ideally where we would be looking to find support around sort of 1240, 1250. So might at a level where we might see a pullback, just be aware. And back to this double top would be a really good place to buy it back again. And then we're looking for 1439 next. In Neo Bitcoin, Neo Dollar. When the Neo Bitcoin is at resistance, you kind of would expect Neo or Neo Tether to be at resistance. If I put my daily chart on, it's not the 38.2, it's the big 50 here. I've gone from this high to this low. When you think you've got an ABC correction or a two equal swings, which I kind of think we had here, I put my fibs on both swings and I look and see if I get a reaction at the 236 fib. I did here, so for me that validates this, and I'm going to leave it on like this. But I also always check it, obviously, make sure should be maybe looking at it this way. So if I look at it this way, this also does line up, and it does say that we may have broken above. So I'm going to say if we hold above 1187, we should, and it's also that double top pullback level, we should keep going higher to 1399. Let's say that next. We'll climb the way up the stairs. Okay, and if I put the bigger fib swings back on this way, probably a little bit higher even, and we'll do it like that. So potentially we can pull back here, but we shouldn't come back below this double top high. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave it on this one. It seems to be working better. We'll see how we go. So if you're trading Neo Dollar, look for a pullback to 1183 to buy. Is Bitcoin moving okay? It's moving while I'm talking. It usually does that. Yeah, it's pretty well supported, but it's been pretty well supported, listen, all weekend, hasn't it? Every dip is being bought at the moment. Let's see what happens when we get above 10,000, you know, because, you know, in a stock market, if you watch a stock market, when a stock makes a new high, I'm always watching for it to find new buyers and blast, you know, because you want people to pay attention and that it's at new highs and still be willing to buy it. I don't want Bitcoin to get just above 10,000 and people going, oh, heck, I'm not buying it here. I want it to come back, you know, because that won't be helpful. So just psychology, isn't it? So we've looked at XLM and NEO. We're going to look at OMG Tether. OMG, like this coin. Anyway, I know it's OMG's. This is such a lovely chart, OMG Bitcoin. In OMG Bitcoin, we have pulled back to the daily 20 moving average and we are shooting up again. One way to confirm that this is not just a bounce in a downtrend and we are on our way up again is to use that 236 fib and we're above it. So OMG Bitcoin I love. I've been asked to look at OMG Tether though, so that's what we're going to look at. And okay, no, sorry, wrong one. OMG Tether, here we go. Same thing, I think we've done a pretty nice ABC correction here. If we look and we measure the legs, I'll check another. My microphones is always. Here we go. We measure from this high. This looks to me like one of those funky ones. Okay, let's zoom out a bit. So this looks like it's gone A, and then this is B, funky, and then C. So I'm going to measure this leg and this leg, and I'm kind of looking. So yeah, it's all a bit woolly, but in terms of bouncing, I think this is a bounce from a really good level. It's these previous highs that we are back testing here. You can see we're holding them really nicely. We could actually say that there's a better pivot level through the middle here if we look at these lows and we take closing prices. My internet's decided to be slow, so if we do it like that and say these lows, this high, this is a great level, in fact, for OMG Tether to bounce from, and it looks like we've got a correction complete. And so any pullback tomorrow, I think, is a really nice one to jump in on. I think it's got legs, and we should hold these 4-hour moving averages. We shouldn't really go back below 1.6, and we should keep going. Sometimes, if this is just corrective, then the first place we'll have trouble is 50% from this high to this low. No. Thank you. Okay, there we go. It's not working. There we go. A little bit higher, so 1.855. Watch out for a little bit of trouble there, but you know, sometimes we get up there, we'll do 50% back, you know, and then but otherwise, yeah, it looks really good. OMG, great level to buy against at 1.46, and we can be bearish if we get back underneath it. The next one we're going to look at is Litecoin, both ways. So we're going to look at Litecoin, Bitcoin, Litecoin, dollar. So Litecoin dollar is rallying like pretty much everything else in the crypto space. It's, though, had a really tough time, hasn't it, with this rally? It's been really choppy. Each of the legs are overlapping. Sometimes, though, the first swing off the lows does look like that, and it doesn't mean that it's not going to turn into a bigger, better move. So far, though, on this daily, if we put our prices on, this 38.2 fib level at 47 has been a bit sticky. I actually think that this 50, I think Litecoin reacts to big round numbers, and $50 is the problem for Litecoin. And so we should be bullish in Litecoin if we can get above $50. Not only that, but $50 is where the 200 moving average is. And it just does like round numbers. So whilst we hold underneath $50 and whilst we hold underneath this daily moving average, it isn't my favorite buy. I think that we look all set to tackle it again though, and if we do get above it, I think good stuff. You know, the next resistance comes in at 53.50, but if we're above all of this and above this 200 moving average, then we'll look for that 200 moving average to then be support and then carry on higher. So it's something like this, hopefully. Now, so that's Litecoin US dollar. It's not the fastest horse in the race, is it? And we really only want to consider Litecoin if we're outperforming Bitcoin, which so far, I'm afraid we're not. Okay, I'm going to start with a monthly chart because these, you know, these fib levels are a little bit woolly, but there's no doubt about that we're in a downtrend. This 61.8, this 50, all of these other fib levels gave us a reaction, and this 786 level at 5429, we've broken underneath and we're stuck underneath. So we need to get back above it. Otherwise, our path of least resistance in Litecoin Bitcoin is lower and down to this 886 fib level. So it looks to me like we're having a go at a pretty decent bounce. We're above the daily 20 moving average. We should from here rally to at least 5227. But again, unless we get above that and then this 5429 level, where I'm not excited about buying Litecoin against Bitcoin. And I don't care that I'm not going to be in at the cheapest level. I really want to buy it when I know it's going up. I think we could quite easily get trouble here, you know. And now if we did something like a bounce here and then retested the lows with a spectacular double bottom or something, I would say okay. But for now, you know, this just looks like another bounce in a downtrend, and these moving averages are still bearish. So by all means have a go buying a counter trend bounce, but watch out for 52.30 and then 54.30. If we get above those two levels in this danger zone, we're on our way. So Litecoin, not my, you know, is it going to go up? Probably it's going to go up, but it's not going to go up as much as Bitcoin, that's all. In the longer term. I mean, short term we are, but, you know, anyway. ZRX. Ox has been in a correction. So, I'm afraid that I'm not very bullish Ox Bitcoin at the moment. Does Ox Bitcoin look okay against Tether? Yes, it does. I'm going to explain why I'm bearish of this one first off, and let's zoom out a little bit more to this weekly. I don't know why I had this weekly level here, but I did. Just a horizontal level. Okay. Yeah, it's one of those support and resistance levels. This is not the real reason that I'm bearish ZRX, and that is because if I measure from this low to this high and project it from here, we made an equal measured move and reversed there quite sharply. When you do that and you make that kind of ABC, if you come back below where the 61.8 level is, which here is 4,000, and see it was initially with support and now it's resistance, I'm afraid that we're coming back. I usually look for it to retrace at least 78.6 of the whole thing. So if we go from this low to this high, 786 is usually back to these lows. So I'm not bullish or getting ready to buy ZRX here yet. And it has to do something now, kind of here. I think we go back to the bottom of this zone at 2311. Unless it does something really spectacular to tell me it's made a bottom. So for example here, we had this 50% back. It had a really good go, didn't it? We pulled back 50%, we bounced 50%, came back and retested it. I thought, oh, happy days. If we make a double bottom here, you know, that would be a really good long, but we couldn't, we only went 50% of the drop, and then we carried on lower. You know, markets that mean revert will keep mean reverting. So in other words, they keep coming back 50% until they break the pattern. So by that I mean in this case here, so we had a big rally, we came back 50%, we rallied 50%, then we came back 50% of that. Okay, then we probably rallied 50% of that, and then whichever way you go. Now, if you go this way and you break the pattern, we're bullish. But if you don't, and we instead turn down here, that's the pattern broken bearish. And this one, this 50, 50, 50 broke down. So, yeah, it's on my back burner. And it's a shame because I really like ZRX. Now, does that mean that ZRX is not going to go up? No, it doesn't if crypto all goes up together very often. So, you know, we're probably going to do that too, and this will keep going up. It just won't go up potentially as much as Bitcoin yet. Now in this chart, this is quite, you know, this is quite bullish really. If we had drawn this as a wedge, we did originally, I think. So we had a third touch false breakout, and then we broke out. We look like, if I line it up properly, we look like this is pretty, maybe a pretty good back test of our original trend line. So I'm not a big fan of trend lines personally, but well, I mean I like them. I like channels, but so here we are bouncing from the 50% level. I think you know that if we break out from this consolidation to the upside, that our target is then going to be 50% of the drop, isn't it? Okay. So that's going to be 0.3988. So here we've got this bull flag, like, or this, you know, kind of channel. If we break this to the upside, 0.3988, okay, will be the 50%. And then when we get there, I probably expect it, honestly, to come back 50%. So we'll go up like this, come back 50%, and then we'll see which way next. So, yeah, so here's your trade. Then short term, here's a nice short term trade. Lovely bounce off a 4-hour 200 moving average. King of the chart. So we'll put our, so we're looking for a break from this consolidation to the upside. Okay, we're about to get a really nice 4-hour trigger crossing zero, and that's our target. Okay, 0.3988, and we'll see what happens there. Like if it blasts through, then it's broken that kind of mean reversion thing that it's doing, but that's what I'd be looking for. So it is setting up in ZRX US dollar for a leg higher. 0.398 is the target. Okay, I have done Litecoin. I'm out of order, I apologize. ZRX link. Okay, link. Link is such a popular one, isn't it? Everybody knows where Link is. Hi Chris, I'll try and do XTZ at the end if I've got time. Look at this doge. Keep looking for this doge to break out and it's not. However, here's one that has. Hooray! Honestly, this was so long in this consolidation range, and today Link US dollar Tether has broken out of it finally, because really we've been in this sideways range since April, you know, over a month. When you reverse it at any fib level, okay, so fibs are like, they're like a staircase, for example, so then they're messy, but they kind of work that way. So here, when we reversed at the 61.8, this 50 was support, and up we go. And here, when we get up here to this 786 fib level, the 61.8 is support. As long as we don't break it, we go into a sideways range. And we've been in this sideways range. And today, hooray, we've broken out 0.2023. So this level now should be support for us to keep going higher. Next fib level is at 4.56. And then above there, new highs or a retest of the highs. And I believe actually new highs for this one, hopefully. I think we're due, but, you know, this really in bigger term, 0.456, because that comes from the first highs that we made in June 2019. And we've never really been able to close above them on the weekly. That's where the first place I would be looking for a reversal or taking profit, because I think that we could have a bit of trouble there. We've got a double bottom down here, at least a double top there. We'll see what happens. Obviously, if we're above there and we're going to be flying, but Potentially that's our next resistance. So again, well, let's go down and look at this on an hourly. Got a little bit of an hourly pullback setting up, haven't we? Let me put my Heiken-Ashi on. So I would look back towards this level to be support. I'm only going to be bearish if we break underneath it, and then I would look for next leg higher to take us up there. Okay, coming up. So Link, very nice breakout today. ENJ, a lot of these coins look so good. It's making my work like 10 times, but anyway, what else will I be doing? It's lockdown. Anyway, what do I think of LTO? I can look at the chart for you. I don't tend to give, I do not have time to read white papers or all of the fundamental news, so I don't, my assessment that it would only be based on what the chart is saying to me, but I'm happy to look at it if I've got time at the end. Enjin. This is like the little engine that could, I love this one. It's, reversed really nicely on the monthly. We've had a monthly close above this 236 fib. We should on pullbacks look to continue higher at 27.58 against Bitcoin. It's outperforming Bitcoin nicely. I don't know what else to say. Are we in a pullback now, and have we been for the last few days? Yes, we have. And 18.99 is where I'm looking for us to find support. We might creep a little bit lower, but I wouldn't want to see a daily close below 18.99. So let's, I wonder if that was one of those funky moves. Probably 1977 actually. We might not go that low. 1882 would be the 4-hour 200 moving average. So either 2000 or 80. So 1991, which is basically 2000, or 1800. I think we've got a little bit further to fall in this one before we found support, and then I am looking for Enjin to continue the uptrend, hopefully. Looks good. So, but yeah, annoying if you bought recently or you're in this pullback, especially because I got quite excited about this because, you know, we had such a nice little cluster here, and I thought, oh, this is us. We've, you know, rallied off it and back tested it, and this rally should have taken us further. You know, we shouldn't have come back already. So it's a little bit frustrating in Enjin, to be honest. But it is what it is. You know, they can't, I guess they can't all get as fast as you want them to be. There, you can see it quite, this support we're looking for here, these highs, so that should be where our support is. If we close back below 1800, I would put my best suit on and give up on Enjin, and I might not ride it all the way back, you know. So that's that one. Gas is next. Can't remember who asked for gas. Let's take a look though. So this is quite a tempting chart, especially the way we are rallying off these bunched up moving averages, and we've made a pretty decent bottom here, you know. This 236 fib, if we it all looks, momentum's on our side to carry on higher. That level that I would be concerned about and would be my target short term is if this is just a sideways, you know, consolidation, then 50% of the most recent swing and the big 236 fib from this bigger most recent swing all line up together here, around 26,000, 27,000, between 26 and 27,000. If we can get, and if we get there, you know, we are going to look a bit like an ABC correction, 2 equal moves. So this will be our first one. This will be, you know, our second one. And so that would be a bit of a concern if we stalled here and we couldn't get above that. If we do get above that, then happy days. I think we're laughing. We're on our way. And my next upside target would be 45. So I know I've zoomed out a bit, but yes, this one is looking good. Looks like it's starting a new upswing. As you know, whenever you buy a pullback, if you're in the market like we are and we buy pullbacks to moving averages like we've got here, the most dangerous place when you buy a pullback is the previous swing high or the previous swing low. And so for here in this chart that we're looking at, this is the most dangerous place where we are likely to next stall, and then we can say if we're above it, then on track for our target. And so that would be here at 21,600. Watch out for a little pullback here, and then we carry on. That's gas, Neo. Oh, I put Neo twice. We've already looked at Neo. So next we're going to look at Zill. My apologies. We will not delete Neo again. Zilliqa. Here's. I have to admit, I really like this. If we draw this as a channel, you know, in an Elliott wave, they kind of say, you know, markets are contained in channels. I think this is a pretty good parallel channel. This, look, is a parallel line to the top line. Okay, and if I put it on the bottom here, on this lowest low here, we've got a very nice parallel channel going on. So having bounced off it, I am looking for a target at the top line here. But we've got to get through the messy bit in the middle. And the toughest bit, if we look, is this 200 daily moving average in basic attention token. I'm not even supposed to be talking about this one. Anyway, I love basic attention token. And if we put your alarm at 24.66, because if we break above it and these previous highs, we should go all the way to 2,900 and have a really nice trade. And I think it's setting up a swing. Anyway, now I'm going to go and talk about Zilliqa, the one I was supposed to. Okay, so Zilliqa did break out after a really nice pullback. So let's look at this. I put my fibs on in Zilliqa from this most recent swing low. Okay, so it's from this high to this low. It's not the big swing. The big swing, you know, really our target's up a little bit higher at 350. And I put this on because the fibs are working. When I look at what happened at the 236 fib, I got a very nice reaction and a pullback. And at the 38.2, I also got the same. So I'm relying on these fibs working. I also got a very nice inverted head and shoulders pattern that's played out. We've hit the target for that now. So we can say that this is our like fib staircase. That was the 236 fib. We got above it. Then we did the same up here. Here at 38.2, pull back. So 190 is the next level where we might get a little bit of a trouble and a pullback, and we're not there yet. So although it looks like we look a little bit toppy today, we should keep going higher to 190 from here. So I hear you about ICX. I will add it on the end, I promise. Okay, so 190 next, and then 223, I think, and up we go. You know, we're in a very nice uptrend, and these fib levels are playing out like a staircase. So here, yes, we have had a pullback. We are in a bit of a correction. We are wrong to be bullish. If we go back below 157, we just need to wait for this to play out. Sometimes if we look at the size of previous corrections, they're very often equal. Similar in length and scale, if you know what I mean. So if we start a bigger correction here, then that's what we would be looking for, and we would come back and retest. If they're not equal in price, they're equal in time, one or the other. And so we could come back and 157 if you're looking to buy pullbacks, and then we don't want to go below that, in other words. So yes, I am longer term bullish, but I see a shorter term pullback here before we continue higher. I don't see any reason for us to stop going up here though, yet. Okay. Sometimes there is actually one thing. So this, you know, this might be like a wave 3 sometimes, and in that case, the most common retrace would be 38.2. Let's see where it brings us back to. Yeah, this could be, it just doesn't quite line up, you know, and these line up so perfectly, it would be strange. So I would say lean on the bullish side until it tells me otherwise, and buy pullbacks in Zilliqa. Is this a great place to enter? No, I think it might come back a little bit more first, but I like it longer term. Okay, AVA, US dollar, Tether, AVA. I've got quite a lot of charts open. If that's giving you anxiety, look away. Isn't this a good looking chart? So this is AVA, US dollar, Travala. Most people, most technicians would tell you that there is you can't, you know, head and shoulders patterns only form at bottoms, and I disagree. I agree with Peter Brandt on this. I think you can have pullback ones either way. This does look like we have a pullback, and if we take this swing that we are in, we're going to look where we have pulled back to, and then we'll look where we're going next. Okay, because this for me was a perfect 50% back. Now we've gone 50% up, so now we know that we're going to be looking for 50%, and I'm not sure, are we done with that 50% thing, and have we broken up? So this is what I mean. 50% here is the high, so if we break it, that's it. We've broken the 50% back, 50% back, 50% back thing. If we don't, we're going to come back 50%, which I don't believe we quite did, but I'm going to look at it on a forex as we might have done. Yeah, we did here. So we came back 50% here, look. So yes, if we break higher above this 50% level today, then that's us. Let me make sure I've done it correctly. Yeah, that was 50% back there. Okay, so high, low. It's messy, but that's what we're looking for it to do. That would be a sign, a close, close at new highs here, or a close above 0.385. That's our bullish trigger for the next leg up. If not, we might do a little bit of consolidation while this daily 20 moving average catches up and tag it. Sometimes the market likes to tag it, and if we did that, that would also be another good place to buy it if you're watching this one. So I'm afraid it's that consolidation thing. There is lots to like about this chart, I have to say. I'm just going to put my fib projections from here. It's really hard to say where it's going to go. But there's very often a relationship. If this is 1, 2, 3, and this is a pullback, then 1 in 5 often have a relationship. And so if not equal, then 1.618. 1.618 wouldn't give us a new high. So I would say probably I'd be looking at 500.549. Let's see if that lines up with anything else. I know it's a bit, yeah, 0.549. No. Up there anyway. So good luck, you know. Ride it till it's, you know, ride it till it stops. If we fail at the previous highs, obviously that's always a bad sign that we are in sideways consolidation and not a new uptrend. But beyond that 50% level, we should look for a retest of the highs next in AVA US dollar. It does look really nice after these inside bar corrections, but we need to break out of this sideways range. Very good look if it does. Okay, basic attention token I've just done, so I got out of order. I apologize. So the next one we're going to look at is solve, and then cause, solve, I knew I was supposed to be doing it. I just didn't do it in order. My apologies. Okay. Gosh, isn't this lovely? Now, people who don't use fibs a lot, or people who kind of use, a lot of traders who use fib ratios for pullbacks will tell you that in a trend, any trend move, so this was a downtrend, they would expect a pullback and reversal somewhere between the 38.2 and the 61.8, and if you don't go beyond the 786, you're still in a downtrend. So that's where you put your stop, the other side of the 786 fib. So if you were looking to sell this, because this is a down, not that I'm advising selling shit coins, but if you were, in other words, looking to sell this, you would therefore, most people who use fib retraces look to sell in that box between the 61.8 and the 38.2, and you put your stop there above the 786. And so the 786 is very often quite a sharp level, and people consider it that's the trend. If you don't go beyond the 786, that's the trend. And so this is not, for a lot of people, would not be a new uptrend because we've stopped at that 786. In this case, it's quite strong support and resistance. We've got this spike high here. We've got the daily close prices here, and so pretty strong resistance. I'm of a view that when you see a chart like this with a really big spike, it very often gets retested. The problem is that we came all the way back down, and if we look at it on a weekly, we came all the way back down and we couldn't close above this weekly 236 fib. And so the only signal that we're going to have that we are in fact going to be going back up again and have another go, and there's this horizontal resistance here, isn't there? The only signal that we're going to have that we're going back again is back above 2089, and whilst we're underneath it, we're in this big bottomy wallowy pattern. I don't know what this pump and dump was. I love to see it retested, and 2089 would be my trigger. So here underneath it, on the daily, we're kind of waffling, and we can't seem to be able to close above it. So that would be my trigger. And if we don't, I would leave it alone. We've got this sideways range thing going on as well. Let's hope these bottoms hold, and let's see next swing. That's what I would look at in solve for a big move. Okay, next one is COS, COS. Going as quick as I can now, hopefully. Hot. Sushi Lover likes hot. Holo is quite a fun one, isn't it? I always find it really thin and crispy to get in and out of. Okay, so we're looking at Contentos, COS here. We'll start with a daily chart. Look at this. Fail again at the 236 fib, you know. This made a lovely bottom, a lovely bottom, but let's move this across here. Made a lovely base, but we have failed at the 236 fib level. I believe in Contentos. Hopefully we're building a bigger bottom. So I would look for these lows here to be, you know, around support. You see this support and resistance level through here. This is the support level we're on, and a nice, you know, right shoulder would be a really good bullish pattern at this point, wouldn't it? It's going to take a bit of time if we look, because this took a couple of months to build the left shoulder. But if we're going to do that, then this would be a really good level to do it at in Contentos, wouldn't it? In terms of support and resistance, would it be a really nice fib pullback place? Let's have a look. 61.8, yeah, and this daily 20 moving average. So we're in a good place to find support. We're going to be looking therefore to bounce from here. So far so good. Looks all right so far, doesn't it? These are high Kanashi candles, so starting to turn up. We are seeming to build a bit of a base here, and let's see if we can. So 61.8, you know the rules. If we rally from a 61.8, we're looking for the 50% level becomes a pivot. We're bullish if we get above this pivot level, so that's 96, and then we're looking for 106, and then what usually happens in this golden ratio zone is you'll then come back and test this 50% level before you go up again. But yeah, if we can rally from here, and if we can get above these hourly moving averages, not quite there yet, almost, then that's what I'd be looking for. 96, 106, a pullback to 96, and then see if we can go higher from there. Contentos. If it's going to rally, this would be a really good place to do it from. There, I've screwed up my horizontal level, haven't I? Need to put regular candles on, and then we can, there we go. Okay, good luck in Contentos. That's when if we go back and we look at that 38.2 level, that 38.2 level is a really big deal first time we come back to it. So be careful, because what is also at this 38.2 level is the daily 200 moving average. Okay, so it's likely first time we get back to it, we will do that pullback before we keep going higher. JWA. ICX. I will do ICX at the end. I've got a list. People asked for these in advance, so I'm going to do them first. Okay. So we're going to look at Bitcoin Cash SV next. We're going to look at it against the US dollar tether. First of all, so if ever anything was bunched up, this is it. Let's start with a weekly chart, really, and make it a little bit more simple. So here's a pretty good example of, let's put this fibs down to here, and we'll put this on. I'm going to put my 786 fib on. Okay, so this was an ABC. It was funky, but it was only, look, any way you count this, okay, it was 3 waves. 1, 2, 3. And it came back to at least a 786. In fact, we bounced from an 886. When you bounce from an 886 fib level, your target is back to the 50%. So we haven't got to our big target yet, first target, here in Bitcoin Cash SV. It's a little bit higher at 252. Here we are wallowing sideways in the middle and have been for a while, but I still expect this to break to the upside. We've got 2 targets, 252. If we can hold above 252, 300. So, and in the meantime, whilst we're in this wedge, honestly, you've just got to be really careful that you don't get chopped up, because it's very easy to get chopped up in a pattern like this, very easily. So take really good buy setups, hold on, and look for 252, if not 300 next in BSV US dollar tether. Now, big question would be, do you really want to buy this? Is it really outperforming Bitcoin? When this one gets going, it really does outperform Bitcoin. But, so this is not, remember, this is a short-term target, and it's not going to put us in a new uptrend. That's just a fib target based on what we're doing. If we are looking at BSV against Bitcoin, we're holding above these previous lows. We've gone ABC up, we've come back. If we're going to do this is very similar. If we're going to do a 3-wave correction, then this would be it, and we're looking for the next leg. So we've gone, you know, and let's see. Okay, the problem is this is an election year. Okay, if you look back at election years, the markets don't normally, unless we're in a massive recession, you know, they don't normally collapse. They tend to be quite bullish. And this president is absolutely determined. He keeps sending messages to the Federal Reserve about, you know, he wants negative rates or more stimulus, because he really wants to get re-elected. And then he doesn't care. It can go to hell after that, because you can't be re-elected after that, right? So he's going to do whatever he can to keep these markets propped up until November the 3rd. And then all hell can come. Okay, So BSV wouldn't be my first pick yet. Now, if we are ready to go up again, and we've got this cute little 4-hour wedge thing going on, then happy days. But for me, it feels like, you know, ending swings are normally 5 waves. So when I look at this looks like 1, 2, 3, and we're in 4. So we're going to have one more little push lower before it's over. And if we do have one more little push lower, it'll probably be back to that previous low that it doesn't want to connect with. And then I would look. So yeah, we're pretty close to that. I wouldn't be surprised if this 4-hour consolidation BSV Bitcoin breaks lower, and that's what we do, and we retest it. So just looks a little bit flaggy, bear flaggy, if you know what I mean. Okay. So Jay said it won't go down like that. No, I know. I am cynical. I am cynical. These markets are manipulated. They print money like... I mean, I know this virus is terrible, but I feel like the government and central bank reaction was so... It's like releasing a tsunami to put out a campfire. That's how I feel about it. It's so much money. Now, is the risk to the economy massive? Yeah, massive. But mostly because we shut everything down, and I'm not even sure we needed to. So anyway, I better shut up because you don't want to start me on this. We did a really bad job of protecting the people who needed help the most, and we didn't, and we made an awful lot of healthy people who needn't have worried stay home. That's my concern. Anyway, who cares what I think? Let's look at Polymath, which is one was requested on Twitter. I didn't have time to get the chart ready. I have not looked at Polymath for a while, so this will be interesting, won't it? It's one of those coins that you always come back to, and this is starting to look very interesting, isn't it? Okay, I've got regular candles on. So we've got these support and resistance levels, and there were 2 of them. First one came from this spike low, look, and that was resistance, resistance, resistance. Then when we got above it, it was support, and now we're at the next one of those kind of resistance levels, which is 500. We really need to close and hold above 500 if we're going to keep going higher. Our big 236 fib target is all the way up here at 1035. So that's the weekly view. We need a weekly close above 500. This candle's looking a little bit bearish. You know, first time at these big levels, you often see this kind of a problem. So we're going to look for a pullback before we carry on higher. How far? Question is, how far are we going to come back? So we're up here, haven't we? This 50% and this previous high would be a good level. If we're going to keep trending high, you don't really want to take out that high. That we'd be in a strong uptrend if we didn't come back in to the zone of that high, if you like. But for me, I look at this big thrust candle and the open close, and I would say bearish below 50% of that. For me, that would be my reversal. Then you would have a 3-day reversal candle pattern. If you Google evening star pattern or morning star pattern, or morning doji star or evening doji star, it's a 3-day very bearish reversal pattern. So we would have a big up day, then we would have a doji, and then we have a down day that closes more than 50% of the first candle. It's a 3-day reversal pattern. So I'm going to say, you know, back below 4, I think 50% is a little, but back below kind of 420 a daily close, that would be pretty bearish and game over for Polymath. If we can find support either at this previous high and then carry on rallying, and we don't go below this level, then I think all good, and we would look for Polymath to keep going again. If we look lower time frame, okay, so this, yeah, so support somewhere in this block between 467 and 426. I know that's a pretty big block. We have, you know, if you've been long, I would take profit there and I would wait for it to find support and turn up again, or take partial profits on this one, and that's what I'd be looking for. These previous lows here around 443, they would also be a pretty good bet for a support to come back to jump from. Okay, Polymath, and it's not terribly bullish. We need to see what we do and how far this pullback comes, because it's from just quite a big level. Okay, MATIC, Theta, BNK. So MATIC, I'm going slowly, aren't I? MATIC. Here we go, MATIC. Oh, what happened? I was so hopeful. Obviously, you can see what I was hoping for. Damn. I'm thinking that these are not the right fibs now. Okay. I'm going to take them off. I kind of thought with this double bottom, you know, we could be setting up really bullish. This is also a 786 fib. So my target was up here around 374, and we don't seem to have been able to get through or even make a new high. So let's see what's going on in terms of where fib levels are. Nothing even that way. It's like an 886 all the way back. This MATIC loves to break hearts, doesn't it? Look at this. You know, when you look at the reversal that we had, it's like almost a, this is almost a fractal of what we did here. Look, you know how we came down, had the big rally, didn't quite get to new high, and then just shanked it. And then here we've done exactly the same, come all the way up, didn't quite get to a new high. Everyone's expecting it to, and we've just shanked it. Well, the good news is that this coin respects the 200 moving average. Here it was support, 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 and underneath it was resistance here, resistance. And so here we are back at the 200 moving average. So if we were going to find support, this would be a really good place to do it from. So let's see if we're going to rally from here. I'm going to put, this is hourly, 4 hourly. I'm just going to put short-term fibs on this way. If we are going to rally higher from here in MATIC, Bitcoin, we need to get above this 236 fib, which is 230. And that's what seems to have held us down for the last, most of today, isn't it? Because it's a 4-hour chart. So I'm going to say bullish MATIC above 230. If we don't go straight away, we could quite easily retest this support, and that's what we're going to see. All of these moving averages are bunched up here. There is a lot of support here, but we're bullish above 230, okay? Tonek says, okay, Nicola, I'm going to... Good one. Haven't even looked at T-Fuel, that's funny. Okay. Okay, MATIC, a bullish above 230, which instantly is also the daily 20 moving average, and a good friend. You want that on your side, really. Don't want to trade against it. Okay, Theta. I feel like Theta's almost had its, let's see where we go. Let's get to Theta. James, can you do the ducks?
Yeah, I've got it now.
Okay, Theta. Now.
I think there's a few requests we might have missed.
Sorry? Yeah, the Daleks have got them. Thanks. Got them. Okay. So we talked about that thing where in normally in a trend you would expect, if you are gonna see a normal trending pullback, you would expect a support somewhere in between the 61.8 or 38.2. That's just where you would expect pullbacks to in a trending market. And if you go beyond the 61.8, then the 786 is where it's game over. It's done. This has come back so hard, Theta, against Bitcoin. It's really quite depressing. It's also bearish because more than 50% of this green candle, and so this one I would not be looking for this to be back going up higher again unless we regained this 61.8 level. Sometimes 61.8 fib levels are messy. It could be that we find support here. Remember, you very often come back to a previous wave 4 or a previous swing low. There is one here that we're bouncing from. So I'm going to say maybe we can do it, but we need to get and close above 3020. And so for us to say, okay, we've overshot it. And this is this 3020. So far we've tried it once and we've got rejected. So if we get rejected there again or probably lower, we really need to recover that and find support from it. You can see how it's resistance, support. That's what we're looking for. So 3020 is pretty key for me to in Theta token Bitcoin. Otherwise, we look to continue lower to 2,100. Okay. Next one we're going to look at is BNK. Can't remember where that one is. Okay, that's weird. I thought I had it ready. My mistake. Hold on, let's take a look here. I might have it. Banker token. I did get it ready. Look. Ta-da! Okay, this is a new coin, so the monthly chart doesn't tell us much except that we've had a pretty nasty drop in this one. Okay, I am going to go to the weekly. Now this is one of those ones, when you drop so far that you put your big fib retrace levels on. So if I was doing it from here, I put it up from here, and they really don't mean anything because your first target is so far away. Did you get the sick one? Okay. That would mean that our first target on a bullish reversal in banker is all the way up here at 45,000. So I'm going to put that on and leave it on, because if we do break out from that consolidation, that would be my first target. But I'm going to use the fibs from the short-term swing to see where we are. And if we do that, sorry, everything's on a go slow. If we do that, you can see that we're going sideways here at this 236 fib, 19,000. Just got a bullish cross of these candles. So this on the weekly looks all ready to launch. If we look at it on a daily, these are our daily moving averages, a 200 moving average. Underneath there's a support. And again, we look like consolidation, and we're just waiting for the breakout. So I'm going to draw it like that. Okay, so we've had one touch, two touch, third touch, false breakout. This time we should really go. You hate OGN, it's a rigged coin. Honestly, if you feel like that about them, and remember the exchanges are trading against you as well. They've got bots. Just don't touch it, leave them. There's plenty more. Okay, so we're looking for a breakout of this wedge. 25,950. 31,500, but our big prize is all the way up here at 45,000. So 31,500 and then 45,000. Let's see where the equal measured move is in this one, because that might. So honestly, everything's so shitty tonight. It might not let me do it. There we go. Okay. So if we rallied from here, this 50% level at 31,500, if we stop there in a bearish ABC, that would mean that we are not in a new uptrend. So watch out for that 31,500 level first, and beyond it 45,000. Okay, that's banker token. RSR. Okay, I think there we are. Here it is. So reserve rights. I actually quite like the look of this. I do think that we've flattened out our daily moving averages and we're in sideways consolidation within a wedge, but we're clearly within an upswing. So we've got 2 touches on the bottom, 2 touches on the top. We're looking for a 3rd touch of this upper trend line here, and potentially if we widen it out, or if we, you know, with 3rd touches you very often overshoot, so I would look for this 50% level, and that would be our false breakout. So 46.70 is our target on the upside if we can break out from this lovely sideways consolidation that we are in here in this one. We're holding above our 236 fib. It's looking pretty good. So here on the 4 hour, let's see. No, we're not quite broken out yet. So waiting for a breakout, looking good. First target is that 50% level. And then if we break out, back to the highs. Let's go back to the daily. You know, yeah, there's lots to like about this bouncing off the 200 moving average. I think it's a good shot, you know, for at least that one. If we widen, if I bring this out and we put it like this, it looks like we're breaking out already, doesn't it? I have to say that I never like it like this because it looks that trend line is too steep. This to me looks like one of those combination corrections. So we've gone A, B, C down, and now we're making a wedge. So I'm going to go from this high like this, and I'm going to leave it like that and say we need a 3rd touch and above this 50% level at 46.70. And if we can do that, then we're going we're done, and then we'll measure the next target. So that 46.70 is our first target. 5,300 is our second, and then 6,900, which should add up with that 886, if I've done it right. Yes, it does. 5,300, 6,917 would be the next target. But we really got to, it's all bunched up. We need to break out here. Nearly there. Okay, let's look at the requests from the comments. Come in from Tezos, XTZ, always popular. We'll see that one. Just gonna have a quick drink. I'll start with Tezos. Oops. I'll start with Tezos, Tether, because it looks, you know, if you can, lots of people will be drawing this and going, oh, this is a breakout, and it does look like it is a breakout. The problem is that 61 this from this high to this low, it's a 61.8 fib, and they could be really messy. You can overshoot them and still come back and like it counts, you know, as a whole. They're just messy levels. So, you know, we really have to make a new high as well. And so I'm going to say it looks good. One of the reasons Tezos looks good is because we're above this 61.8 and then bouncing off it, as in we've found support from it, and now we look ready to launch. So all we need now here, see how, look, we've back tested it here. All we need now here is a new high, and then we're on our way up here to the 786, which is 3.31. So I'm a little bit bullish, especially if we're holding above. So if you're looking at dollars, as long as we stay above 2.8, I'm bullish Tezos, Tether, and looking for it to go higher to 3.3 next. And then potentially 3.6, and then, you know, hopefully new highs in Tezos. But, yeah, it's just consolidation and not a breakout if we drop back below 2.8. XTZ, Chris. Oh, Chris, this is for you. Okay. And then if we take a look at Tezos Bitcoin, because we really want to make sure that Tezos is outperforming Bitcoin if we're going to buy it, don't we? And I think it looks really good to go. These moving averages are a little bit, unfortunately, bumped up. And we're not quite above this daily 50, which is a problem. Let me make it a bit thicker. So you can see, there we go. There, we're stuck above, underneath this daily 50 moving average. It's pretty powerful medicine. So this 3,045, a daily close above there, then I think we're on our way. Now, if this was our first swing, we would expect our second swing. Anyway, I'm not going to, yeah, let's see. Above 3,045, I think we're on our way up. I'm going to draw a trend line like that. I'm going to measure this like this again. That gives us at least 3,445 next swing, but probably better. $3,400. Again, it comes out 3,400. But you know, let's we're obviously reacting from these fib levels. If you can see, we stopped at the 236 fib and we back tested it perfectly. So we'll just mark them and we'll climb up from 1 to 1 as we go up and see how we go. Okay. So that's from this high to this low. Above 3,045, 3,188, 3,300, and so on. And I would expect this upper trend line hopefully to get tested. So I am a little bit bullish Tezos. I'm certainly bullish Tezos dollar, and yes, if we can break higher, we're all set to outperform Bitcoin, and if we can't, we're just going toe to toe with Bitcoin, and if Bitcoin goes up, then so is this one. So I don't think it's a loser. I think it looks pretty good. It's always the problem, you know, when you're in what you think is a big wedge, anywhere in the middle where the moving averages are, you know, you can, it's very easy to get chopped up. So just make sure this really does break out and hold above. Okay, that's XTZ, looking good, but need a breakout. LTO, I'm not sure if I've got a chart ready for that one. Let's see. I don't. Okay, so let me save this and we'll look at LTO. LTO Bitcoin. Oh look, another chart. We've got a very nice pattern here. We've had a rally, and it looks like a three-wave correction and a nice bounce, a lower high, but we're stuck under this daily 50 moving average, and that's what we need to get above to be going on our way. Let's go down to a 4-hour because this is quite a new chart. So here's a flag pattern, if you like, our rally and then ABC correction. You can see it. So we're looking for a breakout. It's pretty hard to draw on this one, so I'm not going to draw. I'm just going to look for that midpoint, that 50% in the middle that very often tricks us up. 467, look, that's right where we are. Getting a bit sticky. Very often happens that way. So what we'll look for with all these bunched up moving averages here is a bit of a bottoming pattern. So here we've done this, we're going to look for this to make a lower high and turn up again, and then back above that level in the middle around 470. If we can do that, then it's on its way. If we can't, then this is just, you know, it's going to keep going. So LTO, that's the shorter time frame one. If you look at this as a daily candle, and if you wanted to look for a price, you know, very often with a big thrust candle like this without many much of a tail, 50% of the open close. So we haven't closed yet, but I would go from 50% like this. At the moment, if we closed here, the price would be 442. So 442 would be where I would be looking for it to pull back to buy tomorrow. So 442, if we mark that, 442. That's exactly 50% back and exactly where this daily 20 moving average is as well. So look for that kind of pattern, and that would be a really good long entry in LTO. But that's not us out of the woods. We've really got to close then above the daily 50, which is at 475. If we can do that, then happy days. You know, we're on our way. At least back to these highs. There's a pretty strong level through here. I don't know, not quite. We're going to look for the all-time high to lows 236 fib level. There it is. It's normal, nearly there. And these previous highs. So 643 is the target if we can get above this daily 50 moving average. 643 is next. Then we see what happens there. We might not make it out first time. Good luck. Let's see if it breaks out. Next one we're going to look at is, that was LTO, CRO, US dollar, CRO, US dollar. Okay, CRO, US dollar. I don't know if I've got that one either. I don't. Okay, CRO, US dollar. Must be Tether, CRO, US dollar, Tether. Okay, gosh. I feel like, okay, for me, if I wasn't already in CRO, okay, this is not one that I would be looking at to buy. And the reason is, it's way too, for these moving averages are too stretched out, and I'm way too far away from the 200 moving average, which is the king of the chart and kind of where your trend is, you know. And so for me, especially with the number of green daily candles that we've got in a row, do I think it'll keep going higher? Yeah, I do. And I think your trouble area is going to be these previous highs, this closing in this zone here next. Okay, so you're in it. First off, okay, this is a double bottom. Okay, so when you've got a double bottom, your target is always the top of the W in the middle. Okay, so this is your first target. Okay, here in classic technical analysis, because this is a lovely double bottom. And Adam and Eve, well, Eve, Adam really, roundy and then pointy. Okay, so your first target is up here at 0.0937 Octavia. And then, you know, in this zone, we might have a bit of trouble. Sometimes the markets fool you. They go beyond your level and then they can't close and they come all the way back. So that's, yeah, I can't, when it's, I hate putting fibs on spikes like this, but if it lines up, let's see. I don't think. Yeah, it makes me nervous. So let's go from there. You know, why not take half off at these previous highs and then see what happens and if we can keep going or not? That's what I would do. And if it comes back, so for me, I'm always trailing it. So like, here's the most recent swing, isn't it? If I put my, so I would take half off at the target. Okay, and if it came back more than the 236 of the most recent swing, I would get out of the rest and wait for a bigger pullback. Okay, or just, you know, in the old days, you know, when indexes would go up every day and nobody knew which one, they would do it the old-fashioned way. If you know, the previous day's low, each day you move your stop up, you know, to the previous day's low on the rest. But I would be careful around 0.0939. Okay, well done on your trade anyway. Next one is OGN. Gosh, somebody's a sucker for punishment. Didn't somebody tell me what a beast of a coin this was? Let's have a look at OGN. I haven't got it here. Okay, OGN. Haha, got a little bit of a problem here, haven't we? So from this high, this is our resistance that we can't seem to get above. And it's also the daily 20 moving average. So if we look at OGN against the dollar, that's where we're stuck, 0.205, and not going to go anywhere until we get above that. And it's also, yeah, let's see from here. I don't know, we should, looks like we should be going, but okay. So in this swing we should go all the way. Okay. So there's a like harmonic pattern rule when you're looking at patterns. If you, let's put okay. So the harmonic pattern rule is, so from this high to low, which is our big swing that we're inside of, this first rally was to the 38.2. And the rule is, if your first rally is to the 38.2 or the 50%, when you put your fib projections on the pullback correction, you're looking for at least, if we make a new high, 1.618 of this correction. So that would mean that if we make a new high here in this one, our minimum target, our first target is up here at the 61.8. Happy days. And sometimes it's the 2.618. So that would give us a back pattern, and that should, if I've done it right, line up with the 886 or near the highs up here. Yeah, okay. This is the one. So I think this looks pretty hot, and my target therefore would be up here in Origin Protocol at 0.3850. But we've got to get above these highs and above this damn daily 50 moving average if we're going to do it. Because whilst we're underneath it and these moving averages are lined up like this, this is still in a downtrend. It's not looking fantastic at all. In fact, in this wedge, this could just as easily be a bear flag. If this breaks, see, draw this trend line this way. If this breaks down this way, or you get back underneath the 20 moving average, get the hell out, because it will retest the lows. This is got that bear flag shape look, okay? So, and above these highs, we're on our way. Now, that's Origin against Tether. Origin against Bitcoin. Because this will tell you, do you even want to be in Origin? No, I would say no, not unless we, like, it is marginally outperforming Bitcoin at the moment. But this is, here's our most recent swing. Where's that 236 fib? Because we want to get above it. Then I would say Origin over Bitcoin. So our resistance in Origin Bitcoin, if we're going to go higher, is 2,220. That's our level to beat. And we're still in, even in just simple fib terms, still in a downtrend while we're underneath it. Okay? Above there, though, I would say, yeah, it's worth shelling out some Bitcoin on Origin. But look what it's done. It's been very choppy. I would stay out until we get a breakout. Okay, very choppy. Can I check Boeing? Yeah, I will try. What's up? Hello, everyone. Okay. Fun QKC. So, yeah, let's... I'm going to stop at 10. Okay, I'm going to do as much as I can. Numbers. Okay, here we go. FunFair. I'm always really fond of the coins that I've made money in, and then I try not to feel like this, and then I hate the ones that I haven't. You have to fight it. Bias. Oh, my chance is seizing up. We may not be able to do this. Hold on. Anytime you want to expand, that'll be good. Okay, here we go. Okay, FunFair. This is another one. Okay, remember the rule, right? You revert. I put my fib on from this high to this low. You reverse the downtrend if you get above the 236 fib. We got above the 200 moving average. I was hoping that that would be support. It wasn't. We did a bigger pullback here. But this 236 fib at 39 now is still our obstacle. What I would like is a very similar sort of right. So if we could make a little, see how this is? This is the left shoulder, big head. If we could make a little right shoulder here, that would be very nice. Thanks. And above 39 would be a really nice buy trigger. Then the trade is target 70. Why 70? Because if we look, that's the most bearish first target, because if we measure from this low to this high, this is where the second leg is 61.8. If we go beyond 70, our second target is 101, then 123, and then 150, and so on. But 101 would be a big deal in this one. So we'll go step by step. If we can get above 39, our first target is 70, and that's, let's face it, on its own is a pretty nice trade. But if we can't get above 39, it's not going to happen. So that's by drawing the fib from this high to this low. Okay, maybe then fun. In fact, you know what? I quite like FunFair. I'm going to put an alarm there, and if it goes above, I'm going to buy it. So I go. There we go. Alarm's on. Thanks. Okay, that's the trade in FunFair then. Next one we're going to look at is QKC. We hope. I think I've got the chart ready. Hold on. Yeah, but that QuarkChain. This one is making. Let's zoom out. This is making a really pretty nice base. Here's our lows. It's kind of, is it a wedge or is it, I don't know. That spike low, if you ignore the spike low, that hasn't really got retested. So potentially this is just an ABC, and I have a feeling that that may be what we have seen done. So this is the first leg, and then we project it from here, and here's our second leg. That's where I've got the dots, and this is where we've stopped. Either way, it's a pretty nasty sideways range. But the difference this time is we've got a lot of momentum. This is a really nice sharp rally, and we're holding above these bullish moving averages. The 20's just crossed above the 200. The 50, if we keep going higher, should do as well. So let's bring down some of these all the way to here, because our first fib problem is going to be, let's take that away because we don't want that anymore, and that one can come away. If we just look at this most recent swing and this sharp rally here, the first then target would be 83. So yeah, I think it's looking very nice, but let's take a look. It's all going to depend on, is this enough of a correction, or is this just the A leg in a bigger ABC correction? If we look at what we did here and how long this one, you know, it may be that this is a little bit quick. So let's, the old-fashioned way of saying we reverse the trend is above these highs at 55, okay, because, you know, lower lows, lower lows, lower highs, we're still in a downtrend. So if we can't break 55, we're not going up. But if we can break 55 and make a new high, then 83 would be my target. Just another one. Watch for a base, watch for a retest of the lows, either another double bottom or a lower high. That would be a good bottoming pattern to watch for here in QuarkChain. And yeah, bearish back underneath 45. If this support level goes, that's not so pretty, is it? QuarkChain, that's what I would, yeah, have it on a tight rein, this one. Now, it doesn't mean that QuarkChain dollar's not going to go up. It just means that it's not. You might as well be in Bitcoin because Bitcoin is doing better. You know, if we look at QuarkChain, I don't think you can trade it against Tether. If we look at it against the dollar, you'd say that this is a pretty nice chart, and we are actually making a new upswing, and we are on our way higher. So it just, you know, just about whether you're better in Bitcoin or not. And if you're watching this, then here is the level that we keep getting stuck at, isn't it? Around there. Okay. Does look good for a bottom, doesn't it? But just not sure if it's going to break yet. ICX and KMD, gosh, and Boeing. ICX. That's here. Icon. Okay, here's a daily chart of Icon. You can obviously see what I'm looking for. Here's the level. It's just sideways consolidation unless we can break out of this sideways range, okay? So it should be a little bit higher, shouldn't we? We should have it at 38, 41, 44. So I'm liking this as a bottoming pattern. I'm going to make the neckline a little bit lower here, and I'm hoping that this, you know, is going to make a very nice rounded hold support here while we consolidate in Bitcoin and make a really nice and turn up higher again. We could, because it's flat moving averages and this is a sideways range, we could go all the way back to the bottom and retest that 200 moving average, because we're not really going up until we reverse this trend and we get above these highs, unfortunately. So yeah, so how are we going to know if we're going up again? Let's go and look under the hood here. There's a lot to like about what we've just done, because if we measure it, we have potentially finished a little ABC correction here on the 4 hour. We're holding the equal measured move level pretty nicely, 34.76. So we want to see, are we going to turn up from here? And then I would buy it. So I'm going to put my fib on from this high to this low, above the 236 fib level, which is here at 35.92. I would say, yeah, we have stopped going down. We are going up again. Not necessarily a new uptrend, but that would be a bullish trigger for me to look at. That's also for our 20 moving average, which is shadowing us down. But, you know, to be honest, this is a bearish cross of these moving averages now. I think that potentially we're more likely to see a bigger correction and that bigger bottoming pattern that I talked about, which I haven't drawn very well. There we go. Like that. Okay, and that would give us our head and shoulders. So yeah, I wouldn't want to buy it here, not with this bearish cross. I would want to see it above that level and going up sharply in ICX Bitcoin. I think ICX dollar looks pretty good actually. If we take a look at this on the daily, we're in this channel and we're trending pretty nicely within this channel. And if you see what I mean, which means if I was looking at it, obviously we don't want to drop out the bottom of it. I'm going to connect these lows like this here. Just do it approximately. Okay. Put them on those highs in the middle. So yeah, this is our rising channel. And if we pop out of the channel to the upside, that would be super bullish. If we drop out of it to the bottom, let's see. It's a little bit struggly while we're in it, isn't it? Let's see in terms of fibs if we've got a problem. No, should carry on higher to 393 in ICX US dollar. So I like ICX. Komodo is the final one. I thought it was here, hold on. Gosh, don't know what, let's we'll put it up anyway. Komodo, Bitcoin, ta-da! this is another sort of not really back in an uptrend yet. You know, we're coiling up. So we made a higher low and we've made a lower high. And so this is how, you know, narrower and narrower range. And all of our moving averages have gone flat. Whenever you've got that, you know, you really need to break out of the range in order to start a trend. Whilst we hold under this 200 moving average and we're underneath the sort of 50% of this low to the high within a wedge, you know, we really could go either way. We could come all the way back and retest here before we go up again. You know, this took a long time to get going as well. I do know that if we get above this 200 moving average, then we've got a really nice setup back to the highs and sort of 940. But I'm neutral, and this RSI makes me nervous. It makes me, it makes me think we've got another swing lower before we start going up again. Yeah. Neutral, Komodo Bitcoin. Now, that doesn't mean that Komodo, if you're holding it, you're not going to make money. It doesn't mean that Komodo US dollar isn't going up. It just means, you know, when you're neutral and going sideways with Bitcoin, whatever Bitcoin does, you're going to do the same. So I'm just trying to get rid of this damn thing. Let's take a quick look at Komodo dollar and see if that... yeah, like this is much, much more bullish, isn't it? Lovely move above this previous low here. We've, you know, it was support, retested support, support, support. We got underneath it, got back above it again, and it's now still support at this 0.5 level and back above the 200 moving average. So new highs here. This is our sideways range with flat moving averages. If we can get out of this sideways range to the upside, happy days. Yesterday's daily candle was a little bit ominous, but let's see. That's our sideways range that we need out of in Komodo Tether for our next swing high. And then when we do, this is the level, our target. Okay, previous highs and lows for always first. So 0.93 would be next target. Okay, Boeing, I don't know if I've got a... let's take a look at Boeing. On the daily in Boeing, first of all, go to the weekly because we'll look at what this weekly correction. And I think I've got it on my stocks page with drawings on, and I can't remember. See, look how we held the monthly 200 moving average. That's just monstrously good. I'm just going to draw my fibs on. I'm just going to get a log scale while I do it. My charts are... Hold on. Nothing's behaving, but here we go. Okay, add a log scale. Okay, now for me, so this is like all-time lows to highs. For me, I'm looking for a bounce here. And I think that this, if I remember correctly, was a 786 fib reversal. It was. And so when you get a reversal at a 786 fib, and I'm just going to make sure I've drawn it correctly to get the levels, which means scooting down here and having a look. Oh, please not tonight, thank you. Oh, there we go, it's the lowest lows here. Okay. I've got too many charts open, so everything's just slow, I'm sorry. Okay. Sorry. Right, when you bounce at a 786 fib level, if you're going to do that 786.38 retrace swing, okay, which would in this monthly chart put us from the monthly 200 moving average back to the monthly 50 and 20, the level you've got to get back above is the 61.8. That's your resistance. So our resistance in Boeing is at 170. And if we can get above 170, the meat of our trade is between these two levels. So it's... Oh, fuck's sake. Sorry. Right. Once... Sorry, I realise this chart's completely fucking screwed up and I've drawn it all wrong and I have to start again, so you'll have to be patient. And we'll put it in log scale. Everything's seasoning up. Here we go. Game over. Hold on. There, that's the flags. Okay. Go out of log. Go back. Now I've drawn them again. Hopefully they won't move this time. Okay, so lock 170, therefore, is our resistance. If we get above 170, then the meat in our trade, the recovery trade, is between 170 and 275. So that's the trade. So if we go down to a lower time frame, this is because remember we're looking big picture here on the monthly. Now we're going to go down to the daily chart of Boeing. Okay, so this is our level. I know we've had a look underneath above it once, but we couldn't close above it, and we really need a weekly close above that level to confirm we're going higher. We filled the gap. We came all the way back. I'm feeling quite bullish mostly because of this pattern. And if we look at this pattern here, we can see we've made an equal kind of, we've made one of those measured move swings, okay, where the second swing is 61.8 of the first swing. So that said that this is correction. So we've had a leg up, a B leg, and here's our next leg higher. The target's going to be 170, and above 170, we're going to look for 275. So yeah, I'm quite bullish. Daily moving averages, a little counter trend bullish cross, as long as we don't go back below them. So where are we wrong about this trade? Back under these moving averages, I would say. So underneath 135, I would say no, it's not working. But for now, I would look for Boeing to continue higher. Yeah, so there we go. Okay, I can't do any more. I'm really sorry. Octavian says, of course, Boeing will go up. Number one friend printed money. Yeah. Yeah, you know, remember, you know, they will, I believe they'll let some of the airlines go because of the competition. But, you know, the US government sees Boeing as, you know, prime infrastructure. They will not let Boeing go. Okay, Boeing make too many important things for the United States government to go under. So there we go. Good night.